Hello, YouTubers. Must mute. That should be better. I've been thinking about what my next video should be about. And I thought I haven't done a Linux video for a while. So maybe I'll do a few Linux videos for you all. Now I realize that a lot of my viewers are not computer geeks. They're not into Linux. So I'll try to offer a little bit that can be for the Linux people and can be also for the Windows people. First off, let me ask you, why do you use Windows? It's a rhetorical question, I know. But you use Windows because it's the only operating system that you've had an opportunity to receive, because it's placed on every computer that's purchased practically in the world. Microsoft is a company who built an OS that survived all other OSs, and there was life before Microsoft. There are many operating systems out there. Unfortunately, most of those others have died off or are just not being utilized in a capacity that it's even worth measuring their use. But the reason why most of us, I should say most of you, use Windows is because you purchased a computer and it had Windows on it. Most people would say, well, why should I go and purchase something else or look for something else? Because I already have it right here. But look at it from another perspective. What does Windows have to offer you? If you had a computer with Windows only on it, other than the operating system and a few applications, there's absolutely nothing else of productivity that you can do with this. It comes with what? An internet browser. You can get any version of internet browser you want. And most people don't enjoy using the Internet Explorer. I know a lot more that use Firefox, SeaMonkey, Opera, Netscape. There are half a dozen to a dozen more out there. You have a paint program, a calculator, a notepad, a word pad, a few other defrag utilities. But other than that, Windows really doesn't give you much. Now, what if I was to tell you that you could download for free a DVD that had another operating system on it that came with not only an operating system that would run your computer very efficiently and securely, but also had so many hundreds of packages that were all free for you to use, that in the Windows world would cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have anything comparable. My Linux machine, for instance, I have video editing software. I have an application called the GIMP for photo software. I have an application called OpenOffice, which gives me everything I need to do with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, their counterparts. I've got a calculator. I've got 3 or 4 notepads if I wanted. I've got utilities that I can download at my whim and compile that all kinds of functions for me. If there's something I want to do, I just need to go to the internet, search for what type of program it is. I can find it, I can compile it, I can put it on my Linux box, and it hasn't cost me any more than the standard fee of my internet connection, which we all are paying. Now, just because I know that you all are on YouTube means that you have to be computer savvy enough to understand how computers work, how to either set up a web camera or a digital camcorder to your computer, download your video, upload your video, whatever you're working on, stream it, and get it out there to YouTube so you can share. So I know that you're savvy enough to understand all that. But just look at this other world that's out there, the Linux world. A lot of people will say, but Linux doesn't work well in a desktop environment. Linux is growing exponentially every day. My first impression of Linux was back in 96, 97, when it was only about 5 years old. There wasn't much for Linux back then. I could get it up to a command prompt, but from there, not much would really work well, especially on a laptop, which I was trying to do. But in just the span of the last 10 years, Linux has grown leaps and bounds. The application support, everything that's out there, it's just wonderful. It's this great product. I don't think it's ready for Joe user out there. But for someone who wants to delve into something new and exciting, Linux is it's neat, it's interesting, and there's so much to do with it. Say, for instance, you want to do animation. There are programs out there that you can do the same type of animation that Pixar Studios does. Did you know that Pixar has converted almost all of their shop to Linux? It only makes sense. Now, you can do so much more. And you look at security patches. Windows, I'm constantly at work having to update security patches, virus software, firewalls, all the cookies and the pop-ups and everything else. It's crazy. I have almost no pop-ups on my Linux box. I have no viruses, nor do I have a fear of any viruses. That's not to say that there aren't viruses out there for Linux, though. There are proof of concept viruses that are there, but that's just it. They're proof of concept to say, yes, it can be done. But nobody's out there trying to destroy it. The neat thing about Linux is that there are thousands of people worldwide working on this great operating system to make it better. And when there's a flaw or a risk that is found, within days, if not hours, a fix, a patch, something is out there. Something is there ready to fix it, make it better. Microsoft, you have to wait forever for them to decide to, or even admit that there's a vulnerability in their software. And then you have to wait for them to build a patch and send it out. I've already read many instances of people all over the world who can build the patch faster than that. Problem is, Microsoft is a closed source application. There's nowhere to hide in an open source application. That's why people can find the flaws, fix them faster, get them repaired, and get them back out there. Now, for you guys who say, okay, I'm never, ever, ever going to go to Linux, but I'm tired of paying all the money that I have to pay. Well, open source software isn't just for Linux people. I mentioned the GIMP, a photo editing software. That's just as good as Photoshop, in my opinion, for anybody who's average user. You can go to the GIMP or just www.gimp.org, and you can download the GIMP for Windows. Free of charge. This is open source. What open source means is that the source is available for anybody to look at, to manipulate any way that they want, but they must get permission from, many times, the author if they wish to republish anything that they've edited. And then there's the general public license, the GPL. The general public license means that anybody can use this product without a fee. Now, the GIMP's out there to download for Windows users. I mentioned OpenOffice earlier. Why would anybody spend $200, $300, $500 for Microsoft Office when 98% of what you need to do, you can do for free using OpenOffice from openoffice.org? Those are just two very good examples of applications that can be used in a Windows environment as well as a Linux environment, and you don't have to pay a dime for it. Open source software, general public licensing, it's the best thing in this world. I just encourage a lot of you guys just to go out there and look at it, see what you think, and check it out. What's the worst? That you download an application and find out that the next time you need an Office application that you don't need Microsoft Office? Next time you want to edit files or graphics, you don't need Adobe Photoshop, but you can get this other free application out there. There are probably hundreds of applications that have been ported over to Windows users as well as Linux users. It's just that most of them are built for open source communities, and their authors would really like to see you use it on a free operating system. But it doesn't mean that people haven't ported it over. It's just a thing to think about. And I don't want to bore you guys too much, but I would like to do a few Linux videos for some of my Linux fans out there, because I got to admit, over 2,000 hits on my I Love Linux video. Now, I know that was supposed to be comedy, and I've gotten some very negative comments and some very positive comments on it, but I just think that choice is the best thing. Freedom is the best thing. And when you have the opportunity to choose, then it makes the market stronger. I think one of the biggest reasons why Microsoft has failed the American and the world population, not just America, because Microsoft is a world application, is that there is no competition for them whatsoever. There is nobody out there with another operating system that can say, hey, you don't have to buy a computer with Microsoft Windows on here. Why don't you buy a computer with the operating system XYZ? It's just as good. You know what I'd really like to see, and maybe my naiveness of Mac comes in here, maybe it's already out there. I would love to see Mac OS X, whatever flavor, be built for an x86 style system, for an Intel-based system. I realize now they're using Intel-based chipsets, so it wouldn't be that hard to do, but I would love to see Mac give Microsoft a run for their money and start allowing their operating system to be starting to be applied on regular machines. Then maybe those in Redmond might wake up someday and realize, oh gee, we don't have the monopoly anymore. We're going to have to actually do something to make our product worthwhile, instead of building it to mimic Mac and Linux, because they can't seem to have any original ideas on their own. Mac is an awesome operating system. The problem is, I don't have the kind of cash that it takes to own a Mac. Otherwise, I probably would have one. And who knows, maybe someday I'll save up enough money. But anyway, that's enough rambling for now about Linux and operating systems and geek-style stuff. So I'll let you go until I talk to you again. Have a good day, good evening, good night. Whatever you're having, have it. Enjoy it. Tschüss, arrivederci. Bye.